Okay, yeah. Hello, everybody.
It's way too early.
Thank you for coming at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Alexandre, nice to see you on stage. That's for you. Um, Maybe a first question. You've been an entrepreneur since you were 17 years old. You've been an entrepreneur. You've been
You're too close.
yeah, too close. You've been an entrepreneur. You've been an investor. You have a third life with Epic, your foundation. Did you see a change in the profile of entrepreneur?
Good morning, everyone. I think it's such a pleasure being with you, Guillaume. But just as an entrepreneur, I think everything has changed in 20 years. When I started my first venture more than 20 years ago, the goal was different. The goal, at least for me, the goal was to make money. For good reasons, but that was the first goal. What I can see now with all the entrepreneurs, I'm sure most entrepreneurs in this room, is we're trying to get a mission, and not only just be successful just to make money. And I know it's the same for you, Guillaume, as an entrepreneur. So it's everything has shifted to something way more positive than 20 years ago. So yes, I do think just there is an evolution.
You just wrote a book called Oser, tout le monde peut devenir un entrepreneur, in French, with my French accent. Why did you do so, first of all? And do you think there's still a huge barrier to become an entrepreneur?
The book, I wrote this book called Ose, so Dare. The English title will be different, will be No BS, so no bullshit, what you would never learn in business schools. So it's slightly different than the French title. But the goal was really to write a book for someone like me 20 years ago, someone who started without a book, without a guide, and trying to make no mistakes. But the truth is you make mistakes. And I've been interviewing very good entrepreneurs, not only tech entrepreneurs from around the world, and not only just tech, but could be a very different kind of entrepreneurs. And I've been asking them 21 different questions. So the book is about 21 chapters. How you get your name, do you need to have partners? Everything was for me not very obvious, but after so many years of working, was very important to share with as many people as possible. And what's interesting about the book, at least the first chapter, if you have to read one chapter, the first chapter is about the big idea. A lot of people are coming to see me saying, I will become an entrepreneur tomorrow, but before I need to find the big idea. And most of the time I'm saying there is no big idea, because people sometimes mix who is an entrepreneur and who is an inventor. So very few people can become Elon Musk. Very few people can become a Leonardo da Vinci. Those people are inventors. An entrepreneur is not always this. I'm not an inventor, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm able to find something and to deploy it differently. It could be a niche, it could be something different. So sometimes we put on us such a big pressure to find something that no one else has been building before. And I think it's very important to share a lot of stories of great entrepreneurs who are not inventors, but that's okay. Because the journey of an entrepreneur could be very different.
If I have to, I read your book, obviously.
Oh, sure?
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah? I'm not sure about this. Tell the truth. Yeah. We have to tell the truth.
No, so I didn't read the book.
Thank you.
I did. So maybe one or two examples to be very pragmatic. There's something very interesting on the 10,000 hour. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? And maybe on failure too, because we've seen there's a lot of myth around startups, success, growth, and everything, but there's a lot of failure, and it's a big part of our journey as an entrepreneur. So can you elaborate on the 10,000 hour and the failure?
Yeah, so on the 10,000 hours, I think it was three searchers in Germany built this, or just they worked on the school, a music school in Berlin. And their goal was to understand how you can start the music school in Berlin with the same level of music. It was only about violin. And they're trying to understand why, after so many years, some of those students became international maestro. Some other will become national ones, and others will become music teachers. And no offense for music teachers. And they try to understand. So the searchers starting asking a lot of questions to them, to the parents, to the teachers. And what they realized at the end of it, it was only a question of work. And it's a pretty good thing, because for sure you can be talented. The fact that you have been able to get in, you have the talent. But the ones who will become international just stars, they were working just more than 10,000 hours. So 10,000 hours, to give you just a sense of what could it be, because it's a lot of hours. It's for you. It's, for example, we are using our phones, and I can see some of you are using your phones now, so it's not nice for me. But usually it's 2.5 hours per day. So you have to just remove phones in your life for the next 12 years. You think you can do this? So if you stop doing this, if you do something different, what this could be different for you, just I know you are a very good chess player. Then maybe you will become you can beat this guy in just playing chess. But that's it is. For the national ones was 8,000 hours. And for the music teachers was 4,000 hours. And I'm sure just all of you know this. If you really want to be successful, and success is not only a question of numbers in your bank account, is succeeding in your mission and in your journey, at some point you have to work more than other people. So that's a part of the chapter in the book. And about failure, and I'm sure the same for many people in the room, we all just hate failures. Or it's not the fear of failure is important, it's how other people will see us failed. And because for sure, and it's true in this country, but it's not only in this country, people are always just pushing or just saying just not the good things of your life, but sometimes say, oh, I remember you 22 years ago, you made just one mistake, and 22 years after, they still just remember you this mistake. So failure is okay. And I think if we are very honest with ourselves, all of us have made mistakes. And I think that's why we're humans. And that's why, I love people. I hate robots, because robots don't make mistakes, but we want to spend time with robots. So failure is fine, failure is okay, and we are sponges. What does it mean? It means that we learn from our mistakes also. And if you make a mistake tomorrow, I'm sure the day after tomorrow you will be better. And at least that's what I'm trying to do.
I didn't do any mistakes.
I know, but you are very special, Guillaume.
I know. The other thing, we met through Epic, and I became a pledger. I pledged at Epic. How did you transition yourself from being an entrepreneur to being so mission focused and mission guided with sharing and giving? How did you make the switch?
For me, it was pretty normal. I started, as I told you, just more than 20 years ago, as an entrepreneur to make money, but not to make money for the sake of making money. To make money to have the means to decide whatever will be the next chapters of my life. And first, I wanted to have money to protect and to just give to my mom everything she should have been having. So for me, it was very clear. The journey was really just having the money, because I realized very early on, it's okay? Yeah, she's leaving. No, you stay? It's good. Thank you. So I was trying to really just do something not for me, but I knew that money will help me just to build or to realize or to achieve the mission. And that's, I think, important just about this generation, but not only just the millennials. The mission is different now than it was just 20 years ago. Now it's all about mission. And I remember these conversations every time I'm going nuts. I can ask this question here. Can you just raise your hand who wants to work in, because I can see a lot of millennials here, work in finance or consulting? Can you just raise your hand? Who wants finance, consulting? Okay. Who wants to become entrepreneur? Ah, yes. Who want to become social entrepreneurs? I love it. So, thank you. Just 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, if I've been asking the same question, it would have been just the opposite. was all about finance. He was all about the numbers in the bank account. He was all about just becoming the next Bernard Tapie. No, maybe not this, but or some other just very successful business people. The good thing now is all about entrepreneurship. But if I'm asking all of you, all the entrepreneurs in the room, or the future entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, what you are doing, what you want to build, what you want to build. And it's not only not to buy the biggest car in the city. It's not to have the most beautiful title on the business card. It's because you have a mission. And for sure, it's easier here at Change Now. And by the way, just congratulations, all the Change Now's team. So I just want to big round of applause. I'm not sure if Santiago is here, but just amazing what he has been building just in the last 12 months. But that's so key. It's all about the journey. And the journey has to be part of, and the mission part of the journey, or the journey of part of the mission.
Yeah. And
But and one thing also about this, when I started as Epic, we've been working with entrepreneurs and a variety of entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, but also tech entrepreneurs. And I remember a discussion with this guy because I have to, you mentioned the pledge. Guillaume, like other entrepreneurs, were telling us, we want to be successful, and when we'll be successful as tech entrepreneurs, we'll have money, and we'll give money away, and maybe we'll give money to Epic. And then we built something with and for the Guillaumes of the world. We said, you should pledge a slice of what you have. And Guillaume was one of the first to pledge a percentage of his shares at Brut to Epic. What does it mean is he gave 1%, right?
I know you're trying to make me go
I know. So do you think 1% is enough? What do you think?
It's the second time you've done that.
Okay, but then you're still at 1%. So anyway, so 1% could be enough. There's not a question of the message is more important than the money. So the message Guillaume just built around this pledge is 1%, whatever you will make, and I'm sure you will make a lot of money, will go to social good. I'm sure you will give even more to other charities. But that's very important. And we have more and more entrepreneurs, when they build a business, they pledge something. And pledging something, it will be a good message. And I think you mentioned to me just a story with people you want to hire, right?
Yeah. Actually, it's pledging is a very good point into going into that world. Giving has always been seen as, I would say, charity, philanthropy. And we are now in a world where it's not only charity or philanthropy, it needs to be embedded within the company. And it's great for the culture of the company. We have incredibly talented people at Brut, young people. So when you meet them, when you interview them for a job, seriously, 70% of the interview, it's you as a CEO being interviewed by someone saying, okay, that's great, we know Brut, we love what you do, I want to be part of it and everything, but what are you doing? Actually, what are you doing as an entrepreneur, as a CEO? Are you involved in charity? So I was able to say, first of all, I pledged, and the second thing is, you are able, thanks to those values, to build a culture inside your company, which is incredible. So for instance, after 3 years of Brut, where we became the fastest growing media, like social media in the world, based on those values, social values, environmental values and everything, we came to a point we were like, okay, we've been shining light on Changemaker for like 3 years. What's next for us? So we felt two things. First of all, that we had to become carbon neutral. And the second thing is that we want to become a B Corp. And it was a big part of our fundraising. And the great thing is, for the carbon neutral things, we didn't go outside to anybody. We didn't say, as the management, we need to be carbon neutral. We went to our team. We have an incredible team at Brut Nature, which is like a huge, massive global success shared by early millennials and Gen Z across the globe. And we went to them saying, do you want to, make sure you're going to be the one doing the transition for us, leading us to carbon neutral in 2020? They say yes. They are between 22 and 27 years old, and now they are leading the pack. The great thing is when you do it this way, When you say, you know what, there's no more plastic at Brut, so everybody is going to come up with his own stuff in order to drink or eat and everything. If I do it as a CEO, people are going to come to me saying, oh, it's too painful, it's so tough, I cannot order Deliveroo and all this stuff. If it's within the company, it becomes a culture, and everybody is super happy about it. So it's actually, I think it creates a lot of value for the company. To get back to you, why do you think there's still so many? Why do you think it's hard for like the whole entrepreneur as a whole to just switch to that social side? Because obviously we are a lot of people here in that room in Grand Palais focusing, but there's like plenty of people who are absolutely not that yet. Especially it's true for big corporate. Why do you think it's so?
Yeah, I think it's taking time, but also it's a question for the investors to maybe define just success differently. Just you mentioned you as an entrepreneur, and it's very different for tech entrepreneurs than for social entrepreneurs. But for tech entrepreneurs, oftentimes it's just a question of speed. They want to go fast. They want to just reach all the objectives, and those objectives are shared with investors. So when I'm not running Epic, I'm also just running just another organization called Bliss, and it's an investment fund. So we invest in Series B plus tech, consumer tech. So it's Spotify, Pinterest, Brut, Headspace, so many other great just startups. And when we back entrepreneurs, we more back entrepreneurs than invest in entrepreneurs. We ask, and you saw this, when we sign term sheets, so when we are close to go to the final line, we say to the entrepreneurs, we want to have diversity clauses. So whoever you will just hire in the future, we are asking you to go very deep and not only just select or hire the same kind of people. We are asking you to do a big corp assessment. So and that seems important because. And I can tell you all the time when we have this conversation with tech entrepreneurs in Western Europe or in the US, the first minute when we are asking them, the entrepreneurs are looking at us and are you very serious? We have huge goals to achieve, and it would take us more time if we are asking us to do this. But the minute after, people are saying thank you. Why thank you? Because if investors can just try to say, you know what, the short term is important, but the midterm is way more important. And even if the short term you can maybe hire someone who will be so similar to you, but I can tell you that long term your organization will just have or could have an issue with this. And the B Corp, what you have been doing with the B Corp assessment is very important. And that has to be just followed by the board. So I do think entrepreneurs, they want to change, but the pressure is so hard. That's for sure. It's not always easy. So I think we also need to change finance, and as we all know this. And that's basically just what we see. But if I can also add something, and it's so easy here because we're all together. We are all similar. We are activists, and being activists can move so many things. But I want to ask two questions. Usually I'm doing this with Apple, but I will do it with Google today. Would you think is normal or fair, if it's not normal, that Google is not paying taxes in Europe or in France, but the same elsewhere? Anyone can just raise hands and want to fight with me now? Okay. Now, who is using Google as a search engine? Okay. Who is using Ecosia? Yes. So the good thing is a good segue for the next speaker, and I'm sure you're all there to listen to Christian. We've been building Ecosia. But Ecosia is interesting because when Christian will just tell you all about just his amazing work, build everything, it was tiny. And suddenly, just not too long ago, it became very famous. Why? Because we want something different. And we understand that even for small action, because we are small activists, let's be clear. I'm a small activist, I'm making my fair share of activism, but that's the thing. And I want to do this with Apple. Who believe it's normal that 60 billion of profit every year is not taxed? That's for Apple. Can you just Raise your hand again. And who has an iPhone here? Please, be honest. Switch, please, switch. Now, I'm very serious. And what I'm telling to those people at Apple, I'm telling them, soon, and I'm wrong, sometimes I'm right, I'm wrong for now, but I can tell you that one day, so many people will switch because that's not normal. All of you are here because you want to have an action, you want to have a positive action on the world. It's crazy to see when we'll be going out tonight or today, we'll be seeing people outside this building who are suffering. And some people who are doing so much money are not sharing what they have. And I can tell you, that's not normal. We know this, and we need to take actions against this.
Thank you, Alexandre. Thank you, everybody.